A terrific night for Manchester United at Stamford Bridge tonight. I'll start with you, Emma, first of all. How impressed were you by Manchester United tonight?
Well, I think to go away from home in a cup game, they're showing a team that have improved quickly under Solskjaer. You know, the energy levels of the team, I think, especially defensively in transition, they got numbers behind the ball. They made it difficult for Chelsea, and going forward, I think exploited, you know, situations when Chelsea have overcommitted players and thoroughly deserved the win tonight.
Did they look as though they went about their business with real intent, real purpose?
Well, I think you could argue they've been going about their business with that intent ever since Solskjaer came into the position, and they've got the momentum. You know, they've been performing well, regardless of the PSG performance. I mean, PSG are an unbelievable team, and I think at this moment was probably a game too far for United. But beyond that, I think United are showing the qualities that they've got going forward. I think the diversity of forward players that they have makes it difficult for the opponent. And I think in the likes of Rashford and Pogba, they've got two players in particular whose form have picked up significantly under Solskjaer.
Regardless of how good PSG were when they defeated Manchester United, Paul, for you, how important was that win for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his aspirations to become the permanent manager?
I think massive. It's easy to judge managers when they're winning every week. That's easy. When you're winning every week, a lot of the time you sit down on that bench. And I had it at Walsall. We went on a run, 1-6 on the trot. You get to a stage, you sit down, you go, we're going to win here. We're winning. You can tell the players are flying. We're full of confidence. The name of the game is you get judged when you've lost, when you lose a game. And a big game like PSG was, and they got well beat. To come back like they did today, you know, this manager's getting better and better. People started at the start with, oh, he's come, he's putting arms around players' arm around. I've seen him out-tactic a lot of managers recently as it's gone on, and he's shown a lot of experience, Solskjaer, and I don't think he's getting enough credit. I think people are using this loosely. Oh, he's just come in, he's put his arm around people, he's made them happy, and look, they're all playing now. No. You know, you watch him go to Arsenal, Lukaku plays on the right, you know, and they rip Arsenal to shreds at times in that game. Tactically, he was aware. You know, tonight he goes there tonight, and they were outstanding. It was a hard game, don't get me wrong. Chelsea ain't playing great at the moment. Still a hard game, because when you get beat in a big game you do against PSG, you go from up here winning every week and you come in the dressing room and your confidence is, we're not as good as what we thought we were, really. You know, and then all of a sudden you come back again.
Especially when he seems to have this permanent audition that he's on at the moment.
He does, and that's what I was saying. I just don't think he's getting enough credit. I don't think he's getting enough credit. I thought this was a big game because I thought, let's see how good you are. You know, it's easy when you're winning every week. You've just been beaten. Now you've got another difficult game. And for me, he's answered them. He's a bit shocked me as it goes, because I thought that was a massive football result tonight.
Do you echo what Paul says? Particularly him as well. No Martial, no Lingard either. And after the shock of PSG, well, not the shock, the result, the manner of it, to produce not just a result, but a performance like that as well.
Yeah, I think it is a shock, Jeff. I think you're right. When you go on such a good run, I think they would have gone into that PSG game, really fancied themselves at home. The club were back together. The fans were right behind Ole and the team, rightfully so, for the run they were on. And it was almost like a wake-up to reality of what top-level European football was, because PSG, on the night, were in a different class without their two what you'd say, star players. Well, Mbappe's on a different level at the moment. They were absolutely outstanding like PSG. So to go away to Chelsea and pick up a result in the manner that they did today, again, speak about Sarri and the way he plays. Every time they come up against a diamond, they put someone on Jorginho. Herrera scores today, first goal in transition, runs off of Jorginho, scores the goal. Pogba makes runs into the box, and the type of goals that it's scoring were like old Sir Alex Ferguson days, crosses into the box. Again, under Mourinho, Man United, they never seem to get around the outside, whip balls in, get people in the box. And we were talking about Chelsea today. The amount of possession they had around Manchester United's box without delivery, without Higuain's waiting for the ball in the box. He must have touched it 3 times in the game. They're going back to being an offensive, attacking Manchester United team.
I want to stay with Manchester United just for the moment, but can you also understand for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the FA Cup, you never know in football, but what they're facing over in Paris, no Paul Pogba as well. Realistically, the FA Cup's their best chance of silverware, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. The FA Cup's the best chance of silverware. But from the position they were in, the fact getting into the top 4 for them is like a piece of silverware. For where they were when Mourinho left the club, they feel like 10, 11 points behind. So for them to get into the top 4 this year and be a Champions League club next year, for me, that's like winning a trophy because it's so big to a club of Manchester United's stature. And Solskjaer's done an incredible job. I love the style of football they're playing. They're playing with a diamond, they play with pace and transition. The 2 wide players always, under Mourinho, were back marking with the fullbacks, in line with the fullbacks. They're so high. You see the goal Martial scores against Fulham, unbelievable. Rashford's runs into the box. It's because they're higher up the pitch. They're willing to take more risks, and they've been absolutely brilliant. They've won at Tottenham, Arsenal and Chelsea now, and that's no mean feat for any manager.
And when they do break, they pick the right pass. You know, you see a lot of teams counter-attack in football and they always pick the wrong pass or when they do it, they pick the right pass. I mean, I thought they'd struggle today without Lingard. I think Lingard's a bit of an unsung hero for them. He doesn't really get the mentions. And I thought they'd struggle without him today, and they didn't. But they picked the right pass. You know, good players pick the right pass. And they're doing that at pace, that's some doing, to do it at pace.
Well, their reward for tonight is the next round of the Cup, the quarter-final. Is away to Wolves, which obviously they will respect them. But if they can go there with that sort of attitude, and put in that sort of performance, then they're not going to fear anybody, really, are they, Manchester United?
No, they're not. But Wolves at home, or throughout the whole season, have been an unbelievable team in the Premier League. But it will also be the chance to see a 4-4-2 diamond go up against a Wolves team that have been playing with wing-backs that will pin them back. And I think that will be an interesting encounter in itself. And it's all going to be about the middle of the park then. And Wolves, a bit of team, I think every time I watch them, they switch the ball very well. They look to get into good situations. They've got a front 2 that are on form, and I think it will be... Look, it's a cup game. There's a lot, anything can happen in them situations rather than it just be about league form.
Okay. I want to put it to...
Wolves give Man United a bit of a runaround in the league at Old Trafford. Yeah. They did give them a bit of a runaround. So, Ollie would have watched them videos and... I wouldn't be surprised if he changed things up just for that game.
I think it's because of the
wide
players.
He'll show them respect.
Absolutely.
That's a hard... no disrespect to the other teams, bar Man City, I think that's not the best of draws, in my opinion. I think that's a hard game, Wolves away.
Put it to all 3 of you then, one of the tweets we've had in. Is it too much of a risk for United to point Ollie? Yeah. Is it a risk?
As I said, I was always waiting for him to lose a football match because when you're winning every week, but to bounce back like they did, and I see them going into this game on Sunday with every chance of beating Liverpool. With every chance. I think Liverpool come away with something at Old Trafford. That's a good result. Yeah. So that tells me that he's doing something very, very right there at that club at the moment.
It's a risk to appoint any manager.
Yeah.
Any manager. And it was a risk for Barcelona to appoint Pep Guardiola, by the way, who managed Barcelona B. Now, for years, I've been watching our appointments of coaches in this country in particular, and what we always come back to, experience. Has he done the job? Pep Guardiola didn't do the job. Now we're lauding Pep Guardiola as the best manager in the world. Jurgen Klopp took a job at Mainz. After that, does well there, gets a big job at Borussia Dortmund, second biggest club in Germany. For me, if a manager's at a club, settled a team down, got them playing in his way, by the way he's changed their fundamental way of playing football very quickly. They've gone from a very deep block, playing a lot higher, a lot more intensity, a lot more pace in transition. Why is he such a risk? He's showing in the role that he's doing that he can do the job.
Would you give him the job now?
Well, I think he's got every chance. I think he's got every chance anyway.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be signing all these players left, right, and centre on long contracts if he hasn't got a chance of getting the job. Because if another manager comes in and goes, "Well, I've never fancied him, and I've never fancied him,"
that was part of the problem under Mourinho with Martial.
That was the problem. Martial. All of a sudden, Martial signed. How's Martial? If he signs and all of a sudden someone else comes in and goes, "One, I don't like him," or Martial goes, "Well, I don't like him." So
there's no doubt that those players have been signed under contract because Solskjaer, importantly, he understands the DNA of Manchester United. He understands not just the philosophy in terms of the way the team wants to play, but the parts that I think I can speak for is he's got the team around the team. He's got backroom staff that understand what winning looks like at that football club, and they are perfectly positioned to go on and do what they want to do with Solskjaer.
So at what point do you think the Manchester United board should make a decision as to whether he gets the job or not?
If they beat Liverpool on Sunday, I'd be shocked if he didn't get it then. I think
I think the way things are going, I think Ryan Giggs' interview was really interesting. I think a decision's already been made. I think the job's his. And I think they're not going to announce it until the end of the season. But I think the job's his. I don't know how someone can go into a club, have the impact that they've had, not just in terms of results, but the way the club are playing, getting your star players on board, how important Pogba is to that football club from a marketing point of view. Martial signed a new contract. There's not any more a manager could have done than what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done.
And if you don't sign a manager now, the end of the season's too late. You have to do all the preparation for the following season. And I'm telling you, as a manager, the hardest work is in that period. If they're searching for and announcing a manager, then there's an awful lot of groundwork. He's had 6 months, he would have, to understand the roles and the responsibilities of being a Manchester United manager, with Alex Ferguson sitting beyond him. And importantly, Mike Phelan, Michael Carrick, you know, people around him that are going to be guiding him in the right way.
If you're the Manchester United board, though, you're getting fantastic results. Why change it?
And the other thing is, they're getting absolutely...
No. I mean, why give him the job now? Why not just leave it to the end of the season?
Well, they probably will, but they might do, or it might be all secret or whatever. I think that if you're sitting there, that place was going absolutely nowhere 3-4 months ago. They're getting ripped to shreds last week by PSG, ripped to shreds at the end. And there's 60,000 people singing his name. Now, if you're the owners of the club, you're sitting there thinking, oh, how great's this? If they were losing 2-0 4 months ago, that would have been toxic.
Well, I think the difference is post-game, he's reflective, he's honest, he's aware of where his team is at. He's not sitting there saying, we should, you know, this should have happened in the game. He's completely conscious of the ground he needs to make. But I agree with you, tactically, in the biggest games, he's been absolutely spot on. If
he didn't win the FA Cup and didn't make top 4, would he still deserve to be the manager next season, in your opinion?
I can only see one outcome in terms of the top 4. I can't see them not
watching today's game. I'd be shocked if they didn't get in the top 4. Now, it's right what Liam said. I think that's as big as winning the FA Cup, getting in the top 4, because they looked a million miles off it. And
11 points off when he arrived.
And now they look like they're going to be playing Champions League football next year. Now, we're talking the biggest club. I always say, these are the biggest club in the world, in my opinion.
So if they didn't make top 4 and didn't win the FA Cup, would you still give him the job?
I think it'll be hard then. I think they got a bit of an excuse if they want an excuse.
Yeah.
If they want an excuse. If they don't want an excuse, give him the job. Man United, in the long run, Man United need to win the Premier League. Man United ain't going to fall into the Arsenal way of just finishing top 4 for the next 10 years. That's not Man United. Man United want to win the league, or they want to win the Champions League, not just get 4th. So you've got to start somewhere. If they don't finish in the top 4, you stay with a manager and you go, right, this is what we do, and next year we try and win the Premier League.
It's funny, we talk a lot of when Mourinho left the club, right, Pochettino, why? Because of the fact he likes to bring young players through. He plays in a style that's the Manchester United wants to play attacking football. Well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's gone there in 2 months. You see Pereira come on in the game today. You see Rashford, who's still a very young player. His form, he's going into the world-class category for me in terms of performance over the last 2 months. I don't know what other managers out there, apart from Pochettino, that fits what Manchester United are looking for in terms of their DNA, in terms of their identity. And I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to give them the job at the moment.